Paso where the tumbleweeds grow to the middleweight champ of all Mexico. Dad fought many bloody battles and he raised 4 sons, but Chavo was the oldest one.
Is this the Mountain Goats? Is it the John Darnielle that you've recommended to me?
Yes.
And I listened to it, but I also felt odd because I had to be like, Kyle, this is fine. I like goth music and nasty, horny dance music. And that seemed like a real surprise to you.
I mean, it was a surprise. There's nothing, so you're absolutely entitled. I mean, I don't look like a guy who likes Broadway show tunes, so there's no rule that says you have to, your physiognomy determines your musical taste. But I will say, if there was ever a man who looked like the target demographic of the Mountain Goats, you have to admit it is yourself.
Well, to clarify who myself is, hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Kyle.
And this is the podcast that we do that you found. Good for you. The Big Bang Theory. We discuss a television show called The Big Bang Theory. It's not very good, but we do it anyway because we're friends and we hate ourselves. And as far as the demographics I fall into, yes, I am middle-aged, paunchy, balding white man with a mild lisp and a soft heart. But you know what? That heart is nasty, Kyle. That heart is dirty. That heart has no time for sentiment. That heart doesn't want chord arrangement. That heart wants like a dum 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 dum, and then like a laser in the back that's like pew pew pew, and then someone like probably like a 20-something like female vocalist just be going, "That's what it is. That's what I want. That's what it." And you do that for like half an hour. And then I'm like, good song.
That does sound like an experience.
Well, it's a good experience. I mean, you can enjoy your musicals, and I can enjoy. I mean, I don't dance. I guess if I'm making dinner and I listen to my dance music, a hip might wiggle, and I'll think, ooh, too nasty. And then I get back to making spaghetti. But yeah, so enjoy your Mountain Goats, I suppose. But The soft music's not. It either has to be recorded in a cave or people have to be having nasty sex to it. That's what I'm about. I don't know, Kyle. You're just letting me hang here now.
I just wanted to see how much further you could go down.
Oh, I could keep going. I could do this for several hours, but I hoped I would have support and some sort of.
You're right. I didn't have your back.
Well, keep talking. You still don't. What are we doing?
Right. So this is a show where we do a podcast about another show.
Right. We watched an episode of that show today. And, we're recording in person today, Kyle and I, at his place. I don't have my normal notes set up. So we watched the 10th season, episode 11, maybe? The Birthday Synchronization. I remember that title. And we don't have the official, unofficial fan wiki summary.
I can pull that up.
Now it's too late. I gotta do it from psychic power. Here's what the unofficial, official fan Wikipedia summary reads in my belief. Raj is experiencing jealousy and betrayal and is having murder feelings because he's realized that this baby that Wallowitz and Bernadette are having is not his. But he's put in all the work, and now he wants to take it. Everyone else around him is trying to have sex, and they can't, because Raj, without a baby, wants to make sure no one else will ever make one. There's Harry Potter paraphernalia, and you can never see it, but off screen, there's someone screaming at a trans teen in every moment of the show. It just didn't get caught on the mic. I don't get mad at my friends who enjoy Harry Potter stuff because I know that they're children. But every time it comes up, I do have to... Can't not mention what an awful, awful person she and that whole thing is.
It is weird. I mean, I don't have a leg to stand up. Well, I mean, because it's really easy for me to be like, yeah, just don't fuck with Harry Potter because I don't really like Harry Potter. But then she writes this other series that's like this gritty... crime saga with a little bit of will they, won't they romance, about a big burly detective and his small-waisted, big-busted partner who is a redhead who everybody underestimates how intelligent she is.
Sure.
But actually, she's really smart and secretly the main character of the world and always morally correct in all of her judgments. Weird how that works. But anyway.
Does J.K. Rowling have them titties? Or is this also fantasy?
I don't know. I mean, I assume
Find out.
It's, it's one of those things. It's like if you ever read the True Blood books, like it was obviously like there was some self-insert there, but then you look at the picture on the back and you look at the way she describes the main character looking and you're like, well, you don't seem to look anything like each other, but that's fair. Anyway, the problem is I really fucking like those Robert Galbraith Cuckoo's Calling books to the point where like I will read them, but I will do everything I can not to actually purchase them. And then when I have gotten a hold of a copy and finished reading it, I must then seek out ways to destroy it so that no one else will ever be tainted by its corruption.
I hate that I trailed off in my mind here because you started talking about True Blood, and I'm just like, why the fuck hasn't anyone else figured out how to get Anna Paquin to tear her clothes off? Why was that it? Hasn't happened since. I just like her as an actor, too. I don't see her anymore. Why? Where did she go? She's like, oh, I fucked hot vampires for 6 years. I'm good for the rest of my life. I miss you, Anna Paquin. Don't team up with the guy that did your X-Men movies ever again.
Brett Ratner, he's a monster. Or
Bryan Singer.
I guess, yeah, that's so... that shows you where my priorities are. I was like, Brett Ratner, he said some mildly questionably homophobic things and made a really bad X-Men movie. And
partied on Epstein Island. That's a better immediate get. Bryan Singer, I think, was nasty, but he was never hanging out with Mr. Jeff on the girl island.
That's only because I think that just has to do with his taste in men, not...
I'm not saying he's like not a bad person. I'm just saying like
explicitly also I think a sexual predator.
Yes. Yeah, but like one was like doing it for love of the game and the other was doing it for clout, and that's I don't support either of them, but one of them has a truer heart than the other. This is what happens when the wiki is in front of us. Just can't stop talking about sex trafficking.
Oh, we're really going off the deep end here. So anyway, in this episode, yes, Bernadette finally has her baby. I say finally, like there's been any interesting or significant lead
someone
up to
said
this.
She's going to have a baby. She has continued to survive in the series until this moment where they finally have to have the baby, and they do it.
Yes. And yes, in the meantime, I do think there is, like, basically, looking at the math of when this episode came out, it was around, like, the 10-year mark of the show, and I do think that explains why everybody is so like nostalgic. There's a scene where they're all like sitting around in the waiting room, like reflecting on how much their lives have changed. And
yeah, well, and also to clarify, just like that is the A plot, and it is not any more complicated than we've brought up so far. It really is. Bernadette has a baby. Raj is sad and jealous, but he gets to be the godfather, and that's it. So it's really just everyone dealing with the stress around the pregnancy, or not the pregnancy, the birth, the delivery. Yes.
Yep. And the B plot is, it's also Amy's birthday, and I guess this was established. I don't think they've done multiple years of this. I think they've only done 1 year of this, but I could be wrong.
Annual birthday nookie time?
Yes.
I think they're just basing that off of world tradition. I think they're pulling from myth, ancient and broad, because I don't think these two have had an annual banging thing.
No, I do think they have, because I think the last time they had sex was on her birthday, and so I think that is just like their tradition, is that like he will have sex with her once a year on her birthday.
Well, then it's had to have. You need at least 3 instances of anything before it develops a pattern.
Well, that's why I was confused. I was like, they're treating it like this has been a tradition for a while, but I only ever remember it coming up once before the first time it was ever a thing.
Well, that's why I'm saying that they're drawing. It's not like they've never had birthday sex before, but they're tapping into the archetypical birthday sex. They all know that if they don't do it, God will be angry at them, which is kind of what is the B plot, is they keep getting interrupted because of this baby. And I don't know. I think it's all... So from the first interruption, it's like, they're all going to go to the hospital because Bernadette is maybe going to have her baby at midnight. which of course is when Amy's birthday officially begins. Sheldon wakes her up right at midnight to give her gift, and they're going to have sexy times. And then it turns out it's like a false alarm because Bernadette's contractions weren't far apart enough. She's going to be a while. It's like, all right, let's go to bed. Penny and Sheldon, or Penny and Leonard, who are like already up, are like, oh, well, you guys want to go do something fun since we're awake? And then it becomes, this is the part I think is absurd, is like Leonard at least is like, they want to have sex. We should let them do that. But why at any point they're like, why can't we be 10 minutes late to the hospital? Like, why can't, like, you're not going to be there, like, ready to, like, catch the baby. Like, I don't, maybe it's because I haven't had a kid, but I felt like if I had a kid and I was like, oh, 2 people are missing and they got there a bit late. And I was like, where were you guys? And they're like, we were fucking, I'd be like, good for you. Meet my child.
Well, to be fair, there is the part where we now know, because this episode spent, despite the fact that they don't actually like show, well, of course they don't show them having sex, but they don't, spend that much time on it, but they do spend more time talking about it than I am comfortable with.
It's disgusting.
Including Sheldon at one point being like, because there's a joke about how it took Wolowitz all of 5 minutes to conceive the child that Bernadette is having, and Sheldon's in the car and he's like, 5 minutes? I must be doing it wrong, because when we do it, it takes hours and hours. So that could be part of it. If Sheldon is committed to like a 4-hour minimum on the bang sesh, then that might legitimately throw off their scheduling.
I guess if they were really committed. I don't know what cool tools they have around. Amy had picked up a Harry Potter sex costume.
That was so not even. I think you just mean costumes and then
for sex. If I put on a fireman's outfit and I bang somebody, that's a fireman's sex costume.
Fair enough.
If I'm a fireman and I bang somebody, I'm cool. I'm a fireman that has sex. Why would I? That's not a costume. That's a good lifestyle.
It just shows how like far away we are in the 10 years since the show came out from that cultural moment. Or maybe it always felt weird and jarring, come to think of it. But like when Amy's like, I'm going to go into the bathroom and I'll be out in a minute. I was like, oh, she's going to do some nerdy cosplay thing. I was like, what is it going to be? Is it going to be Wonder Woman? Is it going to be Supergirl? Is it going to be like one of the elves from Lord of the Rings? I went down like, not like a huge mental list, but I was just like, in my head, I was like tossing out, okay, most like mainstream sexy character that Meowlin Bialik could possibly dress up in as this episode. And then she comes out. I mean, I don't think she's like even explicitly like Hermione Granger. She's just like a nerdy.
Well, she's a Hufflepuff. Hermione was Gryffindor. Get your story straight.
Brother, you don't ever have to tell me which house any major significant character from Harry Potter was.
Apparently I do, if this is how you're going to play it. But you're trying to tell me Hermione's a Hufflepuff?
She is not a Hufflepuff. She's
a
Gryffindor. Most famous Hufflepuff is, of course, Cedric Diggory.
I don't know anything about this stupid series, all right? I know there was a Hermione Granger. She was a main character. Gryffindor is where all the main characters live.
It's true. That is explicitly how it works in the legitimately interesting world building where all of the main characters are.
Yeah, it's like, no, you go to house protagonist, house antagonist, or house background.
And house smart nerds. There's also house smart nerds.
Oh, yeah. Which one's that?
Ravenclaw.
Wait.
Yes, there are four houses.
I'm mixing it up with Fire Emblem.
Yeah, there's brave and cool house, evil racist house, smart and weird house, and miscellaneous house.
I mean, what if like they got together and you had someone that was like a smart racist, and you're like, we're already having trouble. If you become likable, this whole fucking university is doomed.
Well, fair enough. But anyway, two things about that. First off, and I don't want to kink shame or really even look into it that deeply, but those are because I'm sure not the first person to ever be like, hey, you want to put on one of these Harry Potter robes and get weird? But in universe, those are like children's school uniforms. I mean, people dress up as like, again, I get it. People dress up as like schoolgirls and stuff all the time. But it is like, for a mainstream show, I thought it was a little weird that it's like, hey, you want to dress up as like teenage fantasy characters and bone down.
That didn't cross my mind for a second, because I feel like people, I mean, the most broad, sweeping generalizations here, people that are so into this are children. And so then when they see these other school children, they think, Hermione's just like me, a 35-year-old secretary. And I'm going to dress like her. I'm going to fuck a cute boy like Harry Potter, who's very wrinkly, but says he knows magic, and he paid for my drinks. Yeah, it's... I was trying not to bring up, you talk about, like, the inappropriate sexiness. This is, like, the first time where it was like a party with some friends and met my friend's new girlfriend for the first time. Oh, no, it wasn't the first, it was, like, after that, because it was our first Halloween hang. And Harry Potter was very big, and she dressed as, like a sexy fucking whatever school girl from that universe. And it was frustrating, because I was like, you are very hot, but you are inappropriately young for this gang. You're a real adult, but you're more who, like, should be into Harry Potter and go doing pervert things with other young people.
In universe, that was part of your problem, is that, like, or not
in real life.
It was like, it's like, oh, we're a bunch of, like, old dirtbags hanging out with this, like, 20-something.
Well, it's less like we're a bunch of old dirtbags then. My friend is a weird dirtbag who brought his inappropriately young girlfriend to the party, but she is hot, and I don't know what to do about it, because she's dressed like a sexy wizard. And so now I'm like, get her out of here. She probably can't read that well. But let me look at her a while first. It's complicated. And then you throw in other adults that like this stuff genuinely, and that just complicates the feelings more.
Yeah.
There's no pure way to enjoy this.
Yeah. Someone else was like, Nick, it's not a sexy schoolgirl costume. It's just, that's just what they wear in the thing. And you're like, I don't know. It's making me feel a certain way.
Yeah, well, then that's a fault of the school. Because there's, like, someone who designs the outfits had to eventually be like, what are you going to do if they have big titties? Like, because that's a real oversight if it wasn't meant to be sexy. So, anywho, what are we talking about?
This TV show.
Stewart's part of the gang this time.
Yes, I guess. He's, like, competing to be the most interesting. I guess, I mean, if we're at the point where he's, like, at the birth of one of the children, I guess that does make him, like, he is the closest to, like, I wanted to say the fifth Beatle, but there are more than 5 of them. So,
well, he's the scab, you know? Raj sees himself as the official baby maker, assistant, or whatever. But then Stewart, out of desperation and need for a place to live, comes out and is just as... This is what happens when you have to fight among fellow workers for a job that you think somebody else took from you. But the episode, like, I thought it was going to take a different turn than it did, which is when Bernadette is really actually in labor and everyone is in, like, the hospital lobby hanging out. They all start reflecting, and, you know, there's 2 couples that are like, gosh, we've come so far. You did this, and I like all their accomplishments. And then Bernadette and Wallowitz, like, they're my baby, and they've done all this. And then Raj is like, I'm an astrophysicist who's not doing any better than homeless comic book guy. And where I thought it was going to be was like, I wouldn't have liked this either, but I thought, like, they were going to go around and be like, no, you actually have your own accomplishments. Like, we have these things in our relationships, but think of everything you've done. And instead, it's more like, oh no, Raj, you might be onto something.
Yeah.
What have you done with your life? I guess it's really good you're involved with this this child delivery, because we don't know what else we talk about even if you were here and that weren't happening.
Yeah, at one point they're like, well, you do have a dog.
Yeah, that's like, well, and then, you know, similarly, like, they're making fun of Stewart. And, you know, Sheldon says something about, like, oh, those are the things we think, but we don't say out loud. And then Stewart takes it better, but he's like, okay, so they also think I'm a huge loser. But they don't make jokes about it, and there's no attempt to rehabilitate. It's just like, oh, no, you guys are right. You are losers. Thanks for hanging out with us.
It is one of the weirder things about I mean, we've talked about this before, and I wasn't there behind the scenes, but, like, I do wish I could get my hands on some of the Big Bang Theory writers and just be like, among the 10,000 other questions, be like, so at what point did you realize that, like, half of the members of the cast of the show you didn't really need for the plot anymore? And then why did you decide to keep them around anyway? Because there have been other shows where, like, I feel like it wouldn't have been that hard at a certain point to be like, and now Raj has got a new job on the East Coast.
Well, they totally abandoned the plot. They mention it in this, but they have not returned to the plot where, the boy gang are all working on this, tracking or like whatever radar futuristic device for the Air Force. That just disappears. But that would have been a good...
Well, to be fair, it's classified, so they can't talk about it publicly or they'd be shot.
Right, and no one on the show is allowed to know about their secret work that they're doing in a hidden lab at gunpoint. The most interesting thing they could be doing that never comes up anymore, and would be a great opportunity for one of them to blab, and then for Dean Norris to have to disappear somebody, and then we have a more concentrated, streamlined cast. Like, they had an out. They had a mysterious government man who could and would murder, and they throw it aside so they can focus on the baby. And then they don't even do anything fun with the baby, other than to say Raj wishes he had someone to love.
Well, they have that joke where it's like the baby's cries sound kind of like Wolowitz's dead mother.
Yeah.
That's the like button of that joke.
Who, now that they're trying to find a name for the baby, they're like, oh, wow. Wolowitz's mother really was the best, wasn't she? Yeah, we wish she were here. She'd know how to handle this. Disregarding that she was an off-screen voice that had no other reason than to be shrill and disgusting. It's like, how would she help in this situation? Would she be like sitting in the corner being like, does the baby need more butter to help lube it out of her? I brought my home butter. It's saltier than what you can get at the hospital. I don't like the unsalted butter on my... Yeah, I know, I see him blowing up. This is what his mom is like. Yeah. And so they don't do that. And it's not as funny as what I just said, which wasn't that funny either. But it's better than the show, which you don't have to watch because we do. Now you know what what utility we serve. I don't know. I just felt weird about this one. It wasn't like one of the mean episodes, but again, it was like everyone was just kind of like, yeah.
Well, I feel like what's weird is it feels like it should be a momentous episode, right? Because usually in a TV show where like a character is having a baby, that's like a big... Like, when Monica had her baby on Friends, a thing I think happened.
I don't know.
Or Rachel, when Rachel had her baby on Friends. Whatever. My point is, most sitcoms, when a character has a baby, it's like a big deal. And in this one, like, the baby's barely been born. They're already like, we don't really know what we're going to do with this subplot going forward.
I feel like every baby that happens in a sitcom is due to a really brutal contract negotiation where an actual actress gets pregnant and they're like, okay, we don't need you anymore. And then the actress and her legal team have to go, no, you do. And you're going to write it in because I'm your fucking star. But that doesn't work as well when it's Bernadette, because I think she's fine, but she's underdeveloped. But they're all underdeveloped at this point. Like, something I'm getting more and more... God, I'm growing resentful of this show in my old age, 10 years with it. And now I'm like, why doesn't Penny have any more interesting flaws? Why isn't there a weird thing about her? There's nothing funny about her anymore. But that's the true of everyone. And Bernadette, aside from being tiny, has nothing else about her. And so her, like, if she had a baby and like the baby came out and they were the same size, that'd be funny. That'd be a fun thing. They had this extra tiny Bernadette and extra large baby. You put them together. You can't really tell which one is taller. They don't do anything with that. They don't do anything. This show is bad. We've been watching it for over 10 years, consistently, with dedication. People find us, and they tell us to keep going. And
a dude was like, I listen to you guys at night before I go to bed.
Hey,
it's like...
You asked us why our episodes aren't on Spotify anymore. I'm trying to figure out. I don't know. I'm stupid. One thing says they should be, another obviously not there. That's the other. We do this in spite of being idiots. I don't know what I'm doing. None of us know what we're doing, but we didn't make a fucking television show about it.
So yeah, 10 years in, and much like the characters on the show, we are also reflective. And I think we're finding ourselves...
I'm not a lawyer anymore.
Yeah.
I was a lawyer when this started.
So you're definitely more on the Raj side of the spectrum.
Well, no, because now I'm an oil and gas man who maybe just transitioned into being a precious timbers land man. So I still have more going on in Raj, but not a lot, you know. He's got a dog. I've got a cat. He's got married friends he hangs out with. I've got married friends I try to spend not as much time with.
Do you want to be the weird surrogate of my baby that I'm having?
Are you going to put the...
Oh, that's right.
Are you going to put your babies inside of me?
Surrogate.
I'm willing to try.
I just meant, sir, do you want to hover around me and my wife while we go through this pregnancy?
If it means people don't look at me rudely when I refuse to stand up for them on the bus, then yes, I have to look more pregnant than other pregnant people, though. I need to know them. I'm superior in my pregnancy. Do we want to keep talking about this? No. I mean, okay,
Let's
good.
bail.
Yeah. So, hey, if you like what we do talk about, though, you should support us on the Patreon. Come check it out. It's patreon.com/TBBTT. That's a fun acronym. It stands for The Big Bang Theory, which if you forgot it was patreon.com/TBBTT. Let's talk about some things we actually enjoy. I've got 1.5. Kyle, do you want to go first or should I?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Okay.
Mine's. So I've been watching a TV show for a little bit. I don't remember when it started.
1993.
Well, no, because it's all when I started watching it, it was over. Like, I remember hearing about the show ending and being like, I have to go watch that at some point.
2004.
And so I started watching it. There were about 5 seasons of it. No, I think the 2010s. It was definitely like...
My next guess would have been the closest.
Yes. But anyway, the name of the show is called You're the Worst. And the premise of the show is basically it's 2 people who are legitimately sort of terrible, awful people meet and fall in love, and their relationship is basically the only decent thing about them. Now, they aren't terrible in like the BoJack Horseman where it's almost hard to watch them sort of way, but they are pretty comically bad to everyone around them in a way that is sort of amusing and charming. And so one of them is British and narcissistic, and the other is a manic depressive woman who's just constantly flitting around and refusing to acknowledge that like anybody else in the universe has anything important going on. And somehow it works. Like it's an incredibly funny, cute, charming, occasionally very dark show that consistently manages to zig and zag so that it's like in any other show where you were like, okay, the show again starts with them being like, hey, we hate everyone, but you're the only person that I can stand being around. You'd be like, okay, so obviously this is going to end with them being together. But I've watched it I'm on the final season now, and still every moment I'm like, this could conceivably end in a murder-suicide. Like, this show could just decide that, the last episode is going to be one of them killing the other person, and then themselves, and then cut to black. And it will still somehow be funny. And that, I just really appreciate them being able to walk that delicate wire.
Yeah. I was just saying, we always call it a murder-suicide, but we never know how big of a drag the person was before the murder. I'm just saying, it assigns blame pretty quickly. We don't know if the person that did the killing was in the wrong, right? I mean, your show, it hasn't happened yet. I'm just saying, the next time I hear that term, I'm going to have to stop and think, have you
ever watched the movie Bernie?
Oh, it's been a long time, but yes, I have.
I just bring that up because that's like a real life example of a very nice man who killed a lady, and afterwards everybody was like, well, he definitely killed her, but also he's so nice and she was so mean. Yeah. Are we sure that he should have to go to jail for that?
Oh, that's the fundamental question we have every day of whether to, submit to a fascist authoritarian state. Is like, yeah, your little actions are constantly being observed and under control. Think, what are you going to do when you really got to get rid of an old bag? And it turns out that, if you've made friends and community, they'll support you and keep you from the filthy law if you're Jack Black.
Anyway, You're the Worst. Great show. All 5 seasons available on Hulu.
Cool.
Highly recommend.
I'm going to blast through mine relatively quickly, just so I don't go on and on about them. And I'll start by saying I'm done with the first season of Vice Principals, and I'm going to keep going. The show is great. Kyle, you've watched Vice Principals.
Oh, no, but that's another one by the guys who did
Righteous Gemstones,
which I really
Southbound
liked.
and Down, I think, or Eastbound, whatever it is.
Several of the same characters.
Yeah, and so I was avoiding all of Danny McBride's stuff forever because I was always thinking, I really love him. And then Kyle told me just how great Righteous Gemstones is, and I watched that. Someone said, well, you got to watch Vice Principals, especially if you love that Walton Goggins. And I'm loving it. And I could go on and on about like all the stupid, funny stuff that happens because there's plenty of it. But the thing that I find myself most compelled by is they have realistic, dramatic tension of characters that have meaningful, believable interactions with each other that motivate their comedic choices. It's really good. It's like I watch this and they can't figure out how to make anything fucking funny. And you watch this, the Vice Principals, and it's like, oh, well, they figured out how to make everything funny. And Walton Goggins is just the absolute like cuntiest a person can be, and I love him. He is like my role model of just being a sassy bit. Oh, he's so good. Okay, I'm going to stop because he's so good. And then the other thing I'm recommending is I have recommended because I haven't finished it, but I've started playing the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which came out 6 months ago, maybe a year ago. I don't know. But it's part 2 of the remake of Final Fantasy VII, which is a trilogy, which I've thought was very annoying forever. And the first part of this trilogy, I was like, that's pretty good. But it is very annoying that they took 6 hours of one game and turned it into a 40-hour experience of its own. And so it felt pretty bloated. This game has similar bloat, but I get to ride a chocobo in the grasslands, and I can make him go, quick, quick, and he can jump. And if I'm running and I hit the jump button, he'll do a slide on his butt instead. I don't know if that serves a function yet. If it never does, I'm going to love it all the more. It's so beautiful. I love it. It's just like, I think where like the first one I was like, this feels drawn out. This one does have, I don't even know why they did it. I heard about it online. It is true. The most stupid minigame interaction things ever. You know, it's like you go to your first Mako reactor, and I'm like, I don't remember in the first game where I had to operate a vacuum and put it over 3 random spots on the floor to move on. Like that's not fun. Like, I'm like, this is covering a load time? Did they just not think the game was long enough? Because it's stupid. But I'm starting to think, too, that, like, they've put so much detail into everything. I think maybe they just, like, put in more excuses for you to slow down and look at shit. So it's like, I don't have fun with this vacuum, but fuck, I'm inside a Mako reactor. And it's got, like, little tables and boxes everywhere, and, like, people are working here, and it's got faded signs, and it's got messages to each other, and it's like meant for people. It's like I wouldn't have ever asked for like anything to be like a real world like scale Final Fantasy game because that's absurd. But they did it. It's crazy. Yeah. And it's like I saw in Kyle before like we started like if this game had come out and replaced every other piece of like extended Final Fantasy media, that would be a great favorite. I get so sick of how long this game has been milked, and so I've been like apprehensive about playing any of these. But this one is cool. Just if you like Final Fantasy games at all, and if you particularly like Final Fantasy VII, then you like have to play it. And it's just it's so much of Final Fantasy is sucked. That's the thing. I think the nicest compliment you can give one of these games for years now is like, at least they finished it. No, this is good. And I have a theory. I think Tetsuya Nomura, after years of being the Kingdom Hearts guy and not finishing any of the games, someone at Square finally said he needs an adult. And the adults are finishing his games and they're good now. That's another thing. Actually, the last thing I'll say is like, this is like a thought that like just kind of went in and out of my brain while I was playing, but it's like, this is kind of the ultimate evolution of Kingdom Hearts also. It's like basically the same kind of battle system that they've just been like adapting and refining for 15 or 20 years. And I guess that's the credit I will give to. I did mention Tetsuya Nomura is the guy who created all the character designs for Final Fantasy VII, and then he became number one guy at the company and has been like in charge of all the Final Fantasy garbage for years now. And so it's frustrating that they've been milking it for so long, but now it's like, okay, well, the work that you've just been like treading water with forever is now it's finally been perfected.
Refining this into something that, okay, we see what you were going with this whole time.
Yeah. Well, no, I will push back there because I'm not going to give him that much credit. I think other people had to say, this shit doesn't make sense, guy. None of this makes sense. What are you talking about? How much longer will this go? Do you have an idea for how a story ends? Why is Mickey Mouse in this? He was in the other thing.
Wouldn't it be wild if actually you got to the end of this game and Mickey Mouse and Sora showed up and it turned out that the reason you were in a different Final Fantasy timeline in this one was because this was the Final Fantasy that was actually part of the Kingdom Hearts universe, the way the Disney movies are canonically different for being part of the Kingdom Hearts universe in the games than they are the original movies? I
would shove my own controller into my face, bite it in half, and start walking into the desert. I'm done with it all at that point.
Come on, Cloud! We gotta fight the darkness!
I mean, I've already had to fight Cloud as Sora, and he's even nicer than that one. He puts tape on his Buster Sword, which that's a fun that's a fun detail. Where you're like that first Kingdom Hearts game and you're fighting Cloud in the Coliseum and you're like, Cloud has a gigantic murder sword, and he's like he's just a sad boy that kills everything. And then you see him in the battle, and he's like, "Oh, we put tape on it. It's safe now." That's
my favorite fact about is if you go and play any of because there are prequel Kingdom Hearts games you can play, and in one of those you go to the Coliseum and you meet Cloud, and he is in his not soldier uniform. He is wearing the outfit from the flashbacks.
He's like a Shinra trooper.
Yeah, he's dressed like a Shinra trooper, complete with the mask, and he's there to try to get into the Coliseum, but he just doesn't have what it takes yet.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to tape your sword, or is that it? No, that means, so he wasn't good enough to get in. And then there must be another game in between the first Kingdom Hearts and this prequel where he kills some people in that Coliseum.
Well, I assume where he got the Mako reaction injected in, where Sephiroth killed a bunch of people, and they got some of Sephiroth's blood in him.
Oh, yeah, but I just mean, like, I bet he didn't come to that first Coliseum fight with his sword taped up, right? I bet someone had to ask him to do that.
Oh, yeah, after some people died.
Right, yeah. So then when you show up as Sora, who's probably like a 13-year-old with size 27 sneakers, at least he's doing you that favor that you're going to die from blunt force trauma instead of actual cleaving. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore.
Did we ever settle... Is Cloud like a clone?
Kyle, don't ask me a fucking thing about the story.
Is he actually the same character from like the person whose memories he has? Is he still that guy, or at some point did that guy die and his consciousness was transferred? Because there's definitely at least part of the story where Sephiroth is able to pilot his body because they're so inextricably linked, right?
I think all the soldier people were being imbued with Mako, and that some of them included special Genova juice. And so, you got all those creepy sad guys that are wandering around. Those are all, I think, Sephiroth clone guys. Cloud just happens to be one of them. But I guess because he was so traumatized by seeing someone else with a gigantic sword fuck things up that he's like, well, that's what I am now. I've never seen something so incredible. I'm going to erase who I am, and I'm going to be a clone of a guy that's copying another guy who might also be a clone of that guy, but I'm the main guy, and the guy that's actually supposed to be me doesn't show up a lot.
Yeah. When you describe the plot this way, you is absolutely clear that the same guy who wrote Final Fantasy VII wrote Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, it's... Final Fantasy, that's the other thing.
People give the Metal Gear guy, Hideo Kojima, they give him such a hard time.
Oh, well, that's he finishes things. He's just insane. Like Hideo Kojima, you're like, you put together like a glam rock group, gave them guns, and you made the greatest video game series that anyone's ever known. And then the Final Fantasy stuff, it's just like, it's all about my heart? What is that? It's all about just... But what happened to all those people that were left hanging in the last thing? How does time work? Where are we at any point? And instead, you just get like beautiful anime bullshit, which I don't hate, but I'd like things to be minimally coherent. And also, I suspect that I could look more into it, I guess. Why not? I think Final Fantasy VII was like a little unfinished and rushed. Like, that's just with the Zack thing. I think that's part of like cutscene.
Why that's so
yeah
hard to understand.
And so with these remakes, I'm annoyed by how like stretched out they are, but also I think they are adding back in some stuff that like did not make it into the original game in time. Like, I think a whole lot of like the fleshing out of Zack was like, there's some cutscene you can trigger if you go to the right place at the right time in the first game that half makes sense. And if you don't do that, I don't think you ever even learn who Zack is, because he never otherwise comes up in the main story.
No. Much less that he was like Aerith's ex, because I knew that Tifa, for the longest time, I thought that Zack was Tifa's kid's dad, and yet also inexplicably Aerith's boyfriend, so I thought that he was also dating both of them, just like Cloud is sort of dating both of them. And then
I feel like if we wrap up before we just go on and on about Final Fantasy VII forever, but I will say that this game also has brought me back to a strange childlike place of being 14 years old, having a big sword, and having two cheery babes that are into me at the same time.
Yeah, we all knew that was the real reason you are finding life again in this game. You didn't have to say that part out loud.
It's odd to feel like you're dead inside, and then you've got Aerith and Tifa looking at you, making cute little noises about what you should kill, and I'm like, I feel alive again. This is what I need. I need more babes to tell me to kill shit.
Well, you did start the podcast, just let the record go back, by being like, all I need in life is like goth babe metal music, and Tifa is basically what the person who makes that kind of music would look like in a perfect world. So it all ties back around.
Yeah. Tifa, kill me. That's all. Beat me to death. I'll die happy.
And she could too, she could definitely karate kick you in the head.
However she does it. Just so long as it's her flesh destroying mine, that's how I want to go down.